There's a small group of people that shop to make money instead of spending it. And this sneaky side hustle is capable of making thousands of dollars a month.
She buys used clothing and resells those items online.
Third-party sales on Amazon have exploded in recent years. That's where people buy items on sale, then they turn around and resell them on Amazon for a profit.
So I decided to give it a try as a complete newbie. And you won't believe how much people paid for some of the things I found that others just threw away. A couple of years back, I started to notice something interesting about our society, and it's that most of us live wastefully. And that's not just me casting judgment. There are studies that show the average American spends $18,000 a year on things that we don't need. And that could be anything from clothes to toys to the latest gadget that comes out, and the list goes on and on. But because of that trend, something has emerged that people are doing as a side hustle to make thousands of dollars a month. And some people have even started doing it full time to make a six-figure income. And that something is called retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, which is really just a fancy way of saying that you go out and buy something for cheap and then you mark it up and sell it for a higher price. Now, the ripple effect to this out with the old and in with the new mentality causes a lot of people to overspend to the point where they're in desperate need of money. And that's where you start seeing things like garage sales pop up. Or people have so much stuff that their home is so cluttered that they start donating things to thrift stores like Goodwill and Salvation Army. And those are the things that resellers take advantage of. But that's not all. Even major retailers go through the same cycles. Let's say that the season is starting to change. Winter's coming up and a store has to get rid of all of their summertime apparel. What do? They'll cut their prices to 50, 75% off just to get people to buy it, to clear out room for their winter inventory that's on the way. So the next time that you're walking around a store that has a big clearance section or they're having a major sale, if you pay attention close enough, you probably will see someone walking around that does not work there, that's scanning some of the stuff to see how much it's selling for online. See, there's a lot of people nowadays that sell things online using platforms like eBay and Amazon. And matter of fact, 60% of the products sold on Amazon come from independent sellers, meaning somebody like you or I are actually sending products from our house to a buyer once they order something off Amazon. So once I learned about this, I had to try it out. But I was still skeptical about the whole thing, so I wasn't going to waste any of my money. So what I did was I signed up for a free seller account on Amazon and on eBay. And then instead of going out and buying items, I just looked around my house to see if there was anything that I didn't use anymore. I found an older version of a PlayStation that I didn't even realize I had. There are a few pair of shoes that I barely wore, and there were some clothes that I had that didn't fit anymore. So then what I did was I started taking pictures of them and then listing them online to see if I got any bites. Then once I had everything listed, it was like a week that went by, and then I got my first order. And then the day after, I got another order. And that cycle continued for a few weeks. And next thing I knew, I looked up and I had sold over $500 worth of stuff. Now, even though I was excited about making those sales, I still hadn't truly gone out and found something at a cheap price and then sold it for a higher price online. So then I started dipping my toe into some garage sales around my neighborhood. And I went to a couple of thrift stores to see if I could find anything valuable that people would pay a higher price for on eBay or Amazon. But the only things that I was coming across would be something that I paid like $1 or $2 for, and then somebody would buy it for maybe $9 or $10. And I really wasn't making much money at all. And I was taking time out of my evenings and weekends to do this. And after a few weeks, I was convinced that it really wasn't worth it at all. But then I came across something that got me absolutely hooked on reselling. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I was out running errands, and on my way back home, there's actually a local mom and pop thrift store just down the street from my house. So I thought to myself, I'll stop by on my way back home and see if there's anything there. I'd never been to this thrift store before, so I didn't know what to expect. But I remember walking up to the entrance, they had like a bunch of bikes that were lined up, and they were all rusted, and half of them only had like one pedal. So I really thought I was gonna be wasting my time, but I said, hey, I'm already here, so let's check it out. So when I walked into the store, they had it set up to where like, the toys and everything was on one side, and then on the other side, they had clothes and shoes. But on the toy side, there was a bunch of stuff on the floor, so I wasn't going to go over there. So I was like, okay, I'll just look at the clothes. So I remember as I was thumbing through some of the clothes that they had on the rack, right underneath the clothing rack, there was a basket of clothes also. So then I started looking through the basket, and most of what was in there was like dress shirts and collared shirts. But I came across this sweater that felt like quality material. So I pulled it out, and it just looked different. It was like a V-neck sweater, and it had blue and burgundy stripes along the neck. It kind of looked like something that Carlton would wear from Fresh Prince. So I said, okay, let me see if I can find if anyone has bought this sweater online in the past. And I happened to find that exact sweater that a lot of people had bought before on eBay. So I decided to buy it because after all, they were only charging $2.99. And then when I got home, I made sure to take a couple of nice pictures and posted it on eBay to see if anything would come in. Now, to be honest with y'all, it was not a quick turnaround. I think I had it listed for like a month, but I remember one night I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and then I got a notification from eBay that I had sold that sweater. And somebody paid me $125, plus they paid an extra $15 for expedited shipping. And remember, I only paid $3 for it. After that, I had to look into why somebody would spend $140 on a sweater. And I found out that this was a vintage piece of clothing. Back in the 90s, Izod Lacoste was one brand, but since then they split up. So it's now either Izod or Lacoste. But this sweater was an extremely rare luxury piece of clothing. And I looked into who purchased it, and it was actually a retailer out of New York. And the wild thing is that someone just donated it to a thrift store. And after that sale, it was a wrap. I started spending all of my free time reselling products. I mean, anything from electronics to household goods, to clothes, to toys, anything you could imagine. In the third month as a reseller, I made $5,350. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the best side hustles that you can get into because you don't have to have any money to start. I mean, you could simply just start selling stuff that you have laying around the house. But I don't want to make it seem like it's effortless because it takes a lot of time to learn the process and learn how and where to find deals. Because the only way to be successful reselling is to find items at the cheapest price possible. And here's one of the tools that I use to be able to find cheap products. Imagine getting exclusive discounts on brands like Nike, Adidas, and Reebok when you're buying inventory to resell. With the Rakuten Cashback app, you can get additional savings both online and in store to help you save money at checkout. Rakuten is a completely free service that partners with over 3,500 retailers to give you a percentage of what you spend back in cash. And in the past, I've seen anywhere from 8% up to 20% cash back. But one of the best features about this app is the coupon code finder that automatically searches for and finds discount codes for even more savings. And that's not all. If you sign up using the link in the show notes below, they'll give you a $30 bonus just for using the app. If you're looking to resell stuff for profit, Rakuten is truly a must-have. So tap the link in the show notes below to sign up for your free account today and pocket your $30 bonus. Now, if you're looking for a way to make extra cash, whether you're trying to pay off debt, start investing for retirement, or just saving up for a vacation, reselling is a great way to do that. I personally know a few people who make a full-time income and were able to quit their 9-to-5 because of their reselling business. So if you're interested in looking into it as a side hustle or possibly a full-time business, I have a lot of information on my channel about it. But if you want to find out even more ways to make money, stay tuned and I'll be back shortly.